I want to introduce you to the world's best networker. You've probably never heard of this person. And if you have, you're probably one of the few. His name is Adam Rifkin. And in 2011, Fortune magazine named him the world's best networker. Now, world's best networker, that's kind of subjective. How would you even begin to measure that? But Adam Rifkin is a guy who has founded multiple companies in Silicon Valley. And the reason why Fortune magazine said he was the world's best networker is he had more first degree LinkedIn connections to the Fortune 500 CEOs, Fortune 50 smartest people in tech, Fortune 40 under 40, and Fortune 50 most powerful woman than anyone else at the time. And the amazing thing about this is most people don't even know who he is. He just was able to connect with these highly influential people, these people at the top of companies, and have actual first degree connections with him. So the question is, how did he do this? Well, first thing you got to know about Adam Rifkin is that he's incredibly shy. He's an engineer and he's into developing high-tech companies. The other thing about it is he's been recognized, and actually the reason why I know Adam, let's be honest, I don't know Adam, okay? I'm not a first degree connection with Adam. But I came across this story about him in another Adam's book. So Adam Grant wrote a book called Give and Take many years ago, and he featured Adam Rifkin in this and talked about how he does this or how he's become the world's best networker. He talked about sort of some of the things he does, and I'm going to talk about them a little bit here, but how they tie into our approach to networking and what we talk about on the Introverted Networker. But Adam Rifkin's approach is very similar to some of the stuff that you've heard here that we've talked about. And so I want to kind of go into that, but show you kind of what's possible in your own networking, meaning you don't have to be famous. You don't have to be really well known to be really effective in networking. I think the key thing about this is Adam Rifkin doesn't have the most connections on LinkedIn. He doesn't have the most followers. He's got like 75,000 followers out on LinkedIn as of now. I mean, I know people personally with more than followers than that. But he knows the people that he needs to know for what he's trying to accomplish, right? It's one thing to just have a quantity of connections, but it's another thing to have a quality of connections. So let's talk about this real quickly about how he's done this. And again, Adam did this many years ago, right? Early 2010s, 2011, but the story still is applicable today. So again, going back to Adam Grant's book, Give and Take, I've talked about this in my book, The Fast and Easy Guide to Networking for Introverts. Some of these concepts were in that book, and that's where I originally heard about them, as is the place where I originally heard about Adam Rifkin. And Adam Rifkin believes in a couple things. Number one, he believes in the power of dormant or weak ties. Now, I tend to think of these as different things. Adam Grant called them dormant ties in his book, and it was based on an MIT study about dormant ties. So let's redefine what dormant ties are. Dormant ties are people that you already know that you have lost touch with. These are people who you worked with, went to school with, interacted with in some place in your life, and just over time, you've lost touch with them. They're dormant because you can certainly bring them back to life by reaching out to somebody. So this is what Adam Rifkin does, is he gets to know people, and he doesn't make them, they're not like his best friends. They're not people he's going to hang out with on the weekends, but they're people he knows enough so that when he reaches out to them, they know who he is. So that's kind of the concept of dormant ties. What you want to do, again, is think about who those people are that you've maybe lost touch with and reach out to them, re-engage. and see if there's anything you can do to help them. That's what we talk about all the time. I call it starting with who you know, and other people call it dormant ties. Some people call them weak ties. Again, I think there's a difference between dormant and weak ties. We can get into that some other time. But this is one of the things that Adam Rifkin has done to grow his network and get connected, is to continue to foster or cultivate the ties he already has in order to keep his network alive. The second thing he does is what he calls the 5-minute favor. And we've talked about this a little bit in terms of giving to people before you expect them to help you out. And I've always said keep it small. The 5-minute favor is exactly that. The 5-minute favor is something you can do for somebody in 5 minutes or less. That means introducing them somebody via email, giving them an idea or recommendation, something that you can do to help somebody that doesn't take a lot of time. Because let's face it, you're going to be able to do more 5-minute favors for people than if you try to do something that takes you an hour. It's going to be really hard for you to do something big like that. But if you can think about how you could help somebody really in a small way, that's enough. That's enough to kind of get them to feel like they want to help you. So Adam calls it the 5-minute favor. That's what he focuses on, and he tries to do that. It's become a thing that everybody knows. He does the 5-minute favor. So again, in your networking, keep the things you give to people small and manageable and something that you can do so that you don't get overwhelmed and feel like you're doing all this work for other people, but you're doing something that's valuable to them, that's quick to do, and, allows them to feel like, hey, they want to help you out. So that's number 2. Number 3 is Adam has this idea of what he calls pronoia. Think about paranoia. Okay, paranoia is the feeling that everybody in the world is out to get you. Pronoia is the opposite. It's the belief that other people are plotting your well-being. It's the belief that people actually want to help you and want to see you succeed. I think too often we focus on the negative, but Adam thinks about everybody really wants to help him. Not that people are trying to steal his ideas or that people are going to stab him in the back, but it's that we can all help each other. What he does is then thinks, he takes that mindset into all of this, and it just takes away any barriers about, oh, I don't want to help this person because they're maybe my competitor, or I don't want to be, doing something that, is going to set me back. It's the idea that reaching out to people, helping them, and believing that they're willing to help you, not that they're trying to, again, plot your demise. So it's a switch of the mindset. Too often, again, we're guarded. We don't want to share things because we think, oh, okay, that person's going to steal my idea. Think of it as they want to see you succeed, and let them help you succeed. You can let them help you succeed by being very easy to help. Another thing that I talk about a lot. Those are some of the things that really helped Adam Rifkin become this person that Fortune magazine said was the best networked person in the world. Now, it's been many years since they stated that. It's been 12 years since that happened. And if you follow Adam, you can still follow his social media presence. You can see what he's doing. It looks like he's continuing to be a founder. He's active every once in a while on social media. So you certainly can go check him out and follow that. But the thing is, he doesn't go teach this stuff, right? He's been featured in a lot of magazines. He was definitely in the book by Adam Grant. Everybody talks about Adam Rifkin, but Adam Rifkin isn't out there saying like, hey, here's how you be like me. He just said, this is what I want to do. This is the person I want to be in order to achieve my goals. And I want to talk about that a little bit because he didn't go out and say, I want to be the person with the most connections. I want to be the person who people listen to every day on LinkedIn. What he said is, I want to be a founder of a startup. And he met the people who were doing that, the people who were already those leaders. He got very intentional with who he connected with. That's another thing I think that's kind of left out in some of the stories about Adam, is he knew who he wanted to be around and with, and then use these networking principles in order to do that. When you're networking, think about why it is you're networking. where do you want to go? Where do you want to be? And who are the people that can help you get there, either because they've already done it or because they know people who have done it? And focus on those people. You do not have to be the person with the longest list of connections. In fact, I would say that's a waste of time. If you're trying to get thousands of people that you're connected to, you're never going to know them. You're never going to be able to do 5-minute favors for that many people. You're never going to be able to talk to that many people. So get really clear on your purpose for networking and why you're doing it. A lot of people are trying to do this to find a new job, which is fine. That's not a problem. I don't begrudge anybody for trying to get a new opportunity. But who do you want to work with? Where do you want to work? What kind of roles do you want? And find those people. Find a way to connect with them. And if you don't know them because they're in a new industry or whatever, who do you know that might know somebody in that industry? Again, go back to your dormant ties. Start talking to them. They will maybe know somebody they can introduce you to, which is, again, my difference. Your dormant ties are people you already know, in my definition. Your weak ties, or the people you're going to get, are who your dormant ties will introduce you to. Okay, so the people you already know, you're going to talk to them. You're going to say, hey, do you know somebody like this? They're going to introduce you to somebody. That person's going to become a weak tie. Somebody who you're acquainted with, who you talk to, you can do a 5-minute favor for that person. And then at some point, they're going to want to help you out because, again, they're plotting your well-being. You have this idea of pronoia, and then you're going to get help. That's how you can take the lessons from Adam Rifkin and what he's done and apply them to your own networking. Hopefully you learned something new. You've got a different mindset on networking. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to teach you to be a better networker. Please subscribe to this channel. I have a new episode every week. Subscribe to my newsletter. It comes out every Saturday. And let me know how it's going. If you're ever running into problems, please leave it in the comments. Send me an email. I'm always here to help. That's why I do this. Until next time, go out, meet some interesting new people. Always be connecting.